All right, so we are here with my dear friends, Lynn and Stephanie with Plasma Energy Solution. And we have a lot of good stuff to talk about today. And you know how it is with you two ladies. I have to start with one and then I'll introduce the other. But I think last time I started with you, Steph. So today, Lynn, how's everything going and how's life in Montana?
Hi, Sean. Life in Montana is good, and I know you'll think of us where you are. What is it today? Minus what?
Well, no, it's warmed up, but it was 4 below yesterday. So
Wow.
Yeah. So little icy and chilly. And that segues me right into why we don't send glass vials across the country in the winter.
Are you doing plastic?
Yes. Yes.
That's cool. But you know what? That's just as, I mean, it's the pads, it doesn't matter. You know, people know probably listening to us that however you're getting that plasma energy, it's all good. But you know what? The plastic vials, that's an awesome alternative to not have something that'll break in the cold weather.
right.
Exactly. So, and before you introduce my favorite
Your favorite daughter?
Yeah, my favorite daughter. Here's something real quick because you brought it up. It's from somebody in Australia who says, I'm very impressed with your product. Crazy what a piece of paper can do. The plants have gone wild. It is hot and very humid here, plus your product. And I can almost see the plants growing before my eyes.
And she was referring to the plasma energy pads.
Yeah.
Wow. And she was using them for plants. I mean, basically putting plasma energy water in her plants.
Yeah, and when I send things out of the country, they go on pairs of paper pads.
Right.
And yeah, so Sean, you look a little fuzzy on
I just went out of focus.
Yeah.
What the heck? Darn it. I'm union and I get paid, I get paid to read my lines, and I expect that my tech team could do a better job here. Let me back in. Oh, there we are. That's one of my favorite photos. Sitting there with the multi-wave emitters. Okay, let's see if that helped. Are you kidding me right now? Okay, here we go. Boom! Look at that.
There you go.
Totally in focus.
Sorry about that. So, Stephanie, how you doing?
Sean, I'm doing great. It's been a good fall. We had beautiful weather, and then it snowed. So now it's just pretty much overnight it's winter, and we're enjoying it though, and enjoying, there's a lot of wildlife in town here, and moose and deer and all that. And I don't know, life is pretty good.
That's awesome. That's super exciting. Well, I know, I love hearing the testimonials, and since we've talked last, I've had a couple more that have come in. One of them I actually did get on a video with the lady who was just super happy because she was getting so much energy from the water, and I was able to get that documentation. And I know you've got specials and things that we're going to be running for this month, but I always tell you guys, number one, I love you both and I love what you're doing. And I always love dealing individually with people that are at the ground, like at the ground level, making stuff happen. But, the amount of people that have gotten benefit from this plasma energy water since we first started talking is immense. I mean, you can't quantify it because the interesting thing, like you always say, Lynn, it's probably like you and Dr. Paul used to say, maybe it's not the best business model because we can make the plasma energy water and give it out, but it's helping so many people. So I guess, since we might be getting people on the channel today that have not heard about the plasma energy water, do you want to explain a little bit?
I'll start out with something because I found a really good visual about energy fields and our bodies. And there we go. And basically, when I'm talking about plasma energy fields, I'm talking about our bodies have a biofield around it. Some people call it your aura, some people and you have chakras down the center, and some people say, well, that's really woo. It really isn't.
It's not. It's physics.
Exactly. And when I talk about the fact that you can set up energy fields around your house, this is what I'm talking about. If your house is the center where the figure of the human is, then you can have those same protective fields around your house.
Right.
So I hope that helps people. And we work with gas in the atomic nanosolid state. So when you look at our different formulas, it looks like there's powder in the bottom of a jar, but that isn't powder. It's the GANS, gas in the atomic nanosolid state. It never dissolves, and it's there as a battery to change the energy of the water that we add to that. So I have something kind of fun to show you about plasma energy. Now, these are just, that's an ice cube tray. And when you freeze your ice, you'll see those little torsion fields in the center.
Wow.
See where it's white? So now this happened last week, and I've never seen this happen. I had some plasma energy that tried to escape the ice tray.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
I call that my little plasma energy lollipop.
Wow. That is cool.
Yeah, so it was the same ice tray, and the next day, I guess the lollipop made its escape because it was gone. but I had show and tell with it, so it was fun.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
So anyway, that's how the energy works. We do all these formulas take anywhere from 3 to 8 or 9 months to come together, and there's different processes depending on the material. So for some of the processes, it could remind people of almost a homeopathic method of doing things, where once everything's broken down, then we're diluting and diluting and diluting until we get to the proper pH.
Right.
So that's kind of how it works in a nutshell.
Right. And I'm just going to add a little tidbit, because, the thing about water that none of us really understand is that water can retain memory. It can basically hold on to memory. And so when you're infusing that water with that plasma energy, once it gets that energy into the water, it never loses it. It retains that energy. And so that's one of the things I love about this product. You buy one vial, and that vial is going to last you the rest of your life and charge water the rest of your life. And when it comes to getting the greatest amount of value and benefit for the most minimal amount of money, plasma energy water is something that you absolutely need to get into your lifestyle, into your routine. And it's just, you guys know better than I do, but I've been on that site so many times. I would say it ranges from ballpark $100 to $300 on average. That pretty much gets the majority of everything that you're doing. And then you can add all those extra energies. Once the plasma energy is in the water, then you can add all those extra ingredients to add all those different energies, and those can go in then and very specifically target very specific types of cells, body parts, or conditions, health conditions for for health and wellness. So how did I do, Lynn?
Fabulous. And intention is a huge part of this also. And even when you label a container that says clear mind or heavenly thunderbolt or whatever, that label is intention.
Right.
And whatever you do with your heartfelt intention is going to enhance that energy. And I know that may be a little out there and a little wooey for some people, but Dr. Masaru Emoto from Japan showed us in his Messages from Water, when he put intention on jars of water, different intentions, he took some water and froze it after it had sat all night with the intention. When he looked under the microscope, the water that had good intentions, love, joy, peace, looked like beautiful snowflakes.
Right.
Each one was different than the other one. And those that had negative messages, war, I hate you, whatever, it was just black blobs.
Yeah, they were blobs.
And so if you think about, we're over 70% water, what our daily intentions are really can have an effect on us.
It really does. It really does, because that vibration that you're carrying is affecting the water molecules in the body. And you know, the beauty about plasma energy water is it wakes you up to the reality around us that there's so much more than what we know. And when we can start using that knowledge to make our lives better, but water is an absolutely amazing subject. And the other thing that's beautiful about Dr. Emoto is that this is all science. There is not any, you know, this is 100% science-based, and this guy did it for 30 plus years in scientific laboratories. So this is not opinion-based stuff. This is actual factual-based science on how, you know, how powerful and how wonderful water is. As you said, being able to use your thought process to basically create the structure of the water itself, and then the fact that it can retain memory. So many cool things about it. But you know, the best thing about it is that we all need to drink water on a daily basis, and it's such an essential part of our, you know, our lifestyle. And one thing that I did hear before I turn it back over, I've listened to many doctors. I always listen to stuff while I'm working. One of the leading causes of disease, and I'm talking one of the leading causes of breaking down your body, is what one doctor just said recently: chronic dehydration. AKA nobody's drinking enough water, and those cells are asking for water. You're not giving it to them. And there's a lot of issues that start breaking down in the body because you need the water. So not only should we be more conscious of drinking more water, more conscious of our thoughts and how we can influence the molecular structure of water, but then getting the plasma energy water and getting that energy and making it something that you can really turn into a huge benefit for health and wellness is basically a win-win.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yes. And that leads me to just make a comment on the fact that, you know, we as human beings are tremendously powerful, and that bit of knowledge has been taken away from us. And just the fact that we are so much made of water, and we can put our own intention into that, lends credence to how powerful we can be in our own health and wellness and healing.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So, Lynn, I'm sorry, I'm kind of fading in and out a little bit of my focus, but I'm still here in spirit. So even if I fade, I'm here in spirit. So tell us a little bit. I know that we're always doing good specials. I know it's the holidays. What do we have going on right now for the month of December with leading into the holidays? What specials do you have set up for us?
Yeah, okay.
I'll be right back.
Well, you know what? We're going to continue the special we did for November.
Okay.
And Sean, the coupon word for people to use the special is thanks, and it gives them 20% off everything unless it's a special package that has already been specially priced. So
Okay.
one of those packages is our brand new Preppers package, and I'll let Steph cover that. And we've got several versions of that special.
Okay. Now, what about the USA MedBed? Are we still using that or no?
Yes, and what I've done, since they are using the word thanks, is I created another one-line thing they must answer before they can complete their order. And it says, how did you hear about us? And they have to check you or Food Goddess, or they have to write other. So USA MedBed, they have to check it. Their order will go on until they answer that question.
Very cool. So they're actually getting a little additional bonus discount this month with 20%. That's awesome.
Right. So, and the 20% is on everything outside of these preppers
specials.
Packages.
Gotcha.
Right. So the preppers package is something that we came up with. Last February, we started 3 separate GANs of non-GMO, no herbicide, no pesticide, fruits, vegetables, and proteins. So we have our number 1 package is the preppers package, which is $257, and it's those 3 ingredients: the fruit, the veggies, and the protein. And when you get them in the package, it's a savings of $40. The second is the preppers package plus the plasma energy station. So if this is someone's first time ordering, or maybe they've ordered a couple of different solutions and they want an energy station, this is a great way to get it along with the preppers package. So it would be, this doesn't say, well, it's $497 for the energy station and the preppers package, and individually they would be $337 and $257. So that's quite a bit of savings there.
That's big.
On that. And then number 3 is the robust preppers package, which is the individual ingredients and the hunger helper. Okay, so it's the preppers package and the hunger helper. That's $397, and this is all on the website. And the last one is the robust preppers package plus the energy station. So that's $597. That is a great value. So you get the energy station and the robust preppers package for $597. And individually, those would be $397 and $337. So that's a good discount there too.
That's a great discount. So can you describe to people what the actual energy station is? Just if people are wondering, when that comes with the package, how would you describe the station?
Okay, when Dr. Paul started formulating all these different energies, we were getting more and more jars of things, and so it was like, well, what if we put all of this on one container?
Yes.
And get all those energies in there. Well, by the time we were done, we had over 400 energies on this, what we call our station. And at that time, we had a tub, and we would put the vials on the outside of the tub. Well, it finally evolved into, hey, it's a lot easier to have something on the counter with a spigot.
Yeah.
And put your vials on that. And so that, it ended up having the basic things he had put together, the CO2, the CuO2, the zinc, the CH3. There were some very basic, the what?
Silver.
Yeah, and the silver and gold. It's very unusual, Sean, to find anybody's plasma energy products where they have done the GANS of silver and done the GANS of gold. And I can tell you, it took him months to get a tiny bit of the GANS. And so those are part of it, because those energies have nice healing attributes for the body. And then there are just a lot of vitamins, minerals, herbs, homeopathics, essential oils. I was kind of doing Lynn in the kitchen sink thing when I said, well, what if we add this? What if we add that? And
yeah.
Paul was very linear, methodical, scientific, and I'd come in and it was like, here she comes again.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, the plasma energy station is a great place to start, because there are so many energies in it. That alone is a great place to start and see.
So is that like a big plastic tub then that you put all the energies on, like the ones that you had back then? Is that what that is still?
Well, that's what we started with, and then finally it was like, okay, every time we want water, we're taking the lid off the tub and scooping a cup up there. And
so now it's 4 vials.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I usually do all my stuff out of the office. Today I'm at the house, but I have to show you something since I'm here. We're talking about that. This is my mother's station.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Spigot, right? And look, I've got my plasma energy waters on my thing.
Yeah.
And I've actually got 2 of these because I believe I have 6, maybe 7 vials. But what I do is when I fill up the water, I basically put 50% from one and 50% from the other. But this is an ideal type of thing where you've got the little spigot. All I have to do is pop the lid here, refill it. But what is it, Lynn, like 10 hours after the vials are on the water and the whole thing is
just for the very first time that you set it up. And then Sean, I never let my station get any lower than what you're showing with your water. And I always add water to it. Well, when you add water to water that's already changed, it doesn't take that long for it to change. You don't have to let it sit.
Yeah, and I actually just got back from Whole Foods, so I'm going to fill those back up again. But because of that, I'm not letting it get too low. When I add more in there, it won't take long to get it charged back up to full potential.
Right. And I tell people, because they'll ask, can I put this on the outside of a stainless steel water filter. No, you can't, because the energies cannot travel from the vials into the water. Opaque stops the energy from flowing. And so just, for people to know that, and to know it's okay to have metal lids, metal spigots, metal stands, but you want those vials on the clear glass or the clear plastic of your container.
Yeah, and just as an FYI, those glass jars that I was just using, $16 each.
Wow, where'd you find those? Oh. At a store?
I got them at a store, but I actually got them at Walmart.
Okay.
I don't really go into Walmart that often. There was something in there that I needed, but I was just so desperate to get something because, the funny thing is, me, I'm a single and what have you, but when I first started off, they were all on these plastic bottles, because I was just like, oh, that's, because it was clear plastic. It was the Trader Joe's like 2-liter bottles. That's how I started. And then I said, okay, well, I'm getting so many of these things now. I really need to like step up my game, so to speak. So, I happened to stumble across those over there. And I said, oh my God, this is exactly what I needed. But it has made life a lot easier. And Lynn, you actually brought up a really good point. The thing about that particular container isn't just the spigot. It's the fact that you have that mason jar clamp down. So once you're done filling it up, you can clamp down on that and you're not letting dust and other particles and stuff get into the water to contaminate it.
Exactly. And I had a couple people in the past several years send me pictures, and there was green like algae in their water. And I'm going, okay, what's going on here? Well, it turned out they had, took the lids off so the water could breathe. Well, no, the water, all these opportunistic spores were coming in and setting up housekeeping. Oh, this is a nice place.
Oh, this is great. I love plasma.
Yeah.
Right.
So I had to say, okay, no more of that. And I tell people this does not need to sit in the sunshine.
Yeah.
So that's another thing people do. And I say, no, you don't need to do that. So that's the only cautionary things I have. If people are using well water, if their water starts to smell funny, it's going to be an issue with their well. I found that when people have, when we've dug into what's causing a problem with their water. And if they read that I have said use spring water, I mean pure spring water out of the ground. And I don't mean spring water with a spring label at the store. Because not all of those are not all waters are equal.
Right. And before we move on, I wanted to just focus back on the prepper package really quickly. I'm sure everyone is noticing there's quite a spike in food prices right now, which is part of why I saw this coming. We both did, and part of why we started developing this back in, it was last February. It took almost 8 months. And I have been using my intention and using those plasma energies, and I am not as hungry. So it's been fascinating to just try it out, and I feel really good. My workouts are good, so I just wanted to pass that along.
That's awesome.
Yeah, a lot of people tell me that they're not as hungry after they start drinking the plasma energy water. Yeah, because
your body's getting the energy and the nutrients it needs from the water, so it just doesn't crave. It doesn't need the food as much.
Right.
Exactly.
I mean, food is good. Don't get me wrong, but if you can preserve a little bit, that's good too.
Absolutely. And trust me, I'm the one that needs to be drinking more water and eating less food. Let's just put it out there, especially after Thanksgiving. I mean, it's like, happy holidays. Guess what? Your pants don't fit, but hey, it was a great holiday. It's like, okay, well, time to get back to the gym and start drinking more water. But that's always a good thing. But the thing is too, and I have to circle back to this. I do this stuff. I talk to you. I'm never drinking enough water. Even if I say I am and I get a couple days, it's just something that I have to work on and get better at, because, you saw that video I did where I'm literally drinking a quart before I leave for the day. I'm going to try to get this. I don't know why it keeps doing that. But sometimes that's it. You know, sometimes, and it's not that I'm not drinking fluids or drinking liquids, but you know, it's not the same. You really need to be drinking a lot more water. And there is a doctor that I do a lot of interviews with, Dr. Mike Van Thielen. We've got 10 trillion cells in our body. We're replacing 10 billion cells a day. Each one of those cells is performing thousands of functions per second, which none of us can really wrap our head around. And every single one of those cells is sending messages to the body saying, we need this to be at our maximum potential. And us as humans really being completely disconnected from our body, our cells, and our living reality, we're not giving our body what it needs. And we're out there eating probably the stuff we shouldn't be eating, the stuff that has very little nutrient value. And like I said earlier, you know, some of these doctors now are saying, look, a lot of these symptoms and things you're seeing is because of chronic dehydration. So as much as I like to preach to the choir and say, everybody needs to drink more water, it starts with me, right? Like I need to do that myself. So if you're out there watching the video and you're saying, I'm not drinking water, I get it too, I am, but it's like a work in progress, you know? So being conscious of it, knowing that you're not doing it, and then making those adjustments as you kind of put yourself in check, I think is something that all of us kind of need to do from time to time.
Definitely.
Exactly. Yeah. And, you know, I will mention something. Sometimes when people have gotten their plasma energy formulas or their plasma energy station and set it up, and they're so excited. And I had one guy contact me and he said, is it usual to have detoxing effects with the water? And I wrote back and said, well, how much are you drinking? Well, I set up my station. I was really excited and I drank a gallon. And I'm going, you're probably going to have some detoxing effects. And so what you need to do is, when you set things up, and if you're not used to drinking a lot of water, then add it in, you know, a couple glasses, then the next day maybe 3 glasses, and build up to it. And you know, don't start out with 2 gallons. You're going to have a detox.
Yeah, and you know, yeah, exactly. You know, Lynn, another question I get, because I've got I have 7 vials, right? And they say, well, you know, can you get too much of this or that? Well, your body takes the energy it needs out of that plasma energy water, and it'll let it get the energy that you don't need or the frequencies you don't need, it'll pass right through. So, you know, that's another question I get a lot. It's like, well, if I have one for, you know, let's just say Alzheimer's, and I don't have Alzheimer's, is it going to, your body's just going to pass it through. If you had Alzheimer's and you needed that frequency and the body needed it, it would take it, it would use it. But if you don't have it and the body doesn't need it, it's going to pass it right through. So, you know, when like with me, I'm drinking 6 different types of plasma energy water. The stuff that my body needs, it's going to take. The stuff it doesn't need, it's just going to let it pass right through. But I'd rather, you know, give it what it needs. And if it doesn't need it, great, than not giving it what it needs when it really does need it.
Yeah, and I had somebody ask me, well, can I just put everything on there? And I said, well, yes, with a couple of qualifiers, because they wanted to know about putting, say, Super Dog on the station. And I said, now, if you and your dog are going to sit down and enjoy a steak dinner together, that's one thing. But are you going to sit down and enjoy a bowl of food together?
Yeah, right.
So, you know, it's just kind of like, to me, there's certain things that Super Cat goes in my cat's water dish and not on my energy station.
Right. Yeah. And thank God, you know, that's another great thing. This stuff is just as good for pets and animals as it is for people. So, and plants. I'm glad we brought up the plant thing, because the plant thing is very important, because, you know, I know we've talked about this before, but I know a lot of this plasma energy water is starting to be put towards agricultural uses. But all of us, or a lot of us, have pets and you know, other little animals and friends around us. So, you know, getting it to the other little animals in the house is also a very valuable asset with the plasma energy water.
Right. And, you know, as far as the plants go, I will say that there are some specific formulas we've put together. And Steph, we came up with one recently that has the soil and the
super soil, sea essentials, and what was the other one? Oh, the natural pest away.
Okay.
Right. So that's one package we have. Then we have another single vial called plants, indoor and outdoor plants. And those are energies that are targeted for the plants. So I had somebody say, well, you know, can I just use some of my formulas? Maybe not all the things in those combinations are designed for plants.
Right.
That's why I say, you know, kind of aim it towards the plant.
Right.
And do it that way. So because the plants have their energy fields too, and just want to address the right things.
Right.
So, Sean, we've got some good testimonials, and
let's hear them.
Okay.
Yeah, just
Love it.
Speaking of, and this is actually from someone that was a referral from you, and she shared with a friend of hers. So we have great testimonials from both of them. It says, we have been drinking the station water for several months. I've found that the water is smoother and very satisfying. I can clearly tell the difference between energy water and filtered water. I use the station water for my cooking, tea, and coffee. I spray station water and peace water on my face. It helps that I keep a spray bottle in the kitchen and bedroom. She uses the pain and arthritis on her hands throughout the day. And she said it helps with the pain, and she has made the gloves that she has soaked and dried to wear at night with the pain and arthritis formulas. And the pain in her right hand has reduced significantly, and her fingers are more flexible. She also sprays her feet and legs when she goes for walks, and it eases the movement. Then she's talking about her dog here. Daisy is our dog. She is a rescue. She used to have a huge lump on her right side towards the top of her leg, and I've given her water in her bowl and spray the area with the lump. Over the past month or so, the lump has gone down. I have to look for the lump in order to spray it these days. I give her a mixture of station water and the Super Dog Plus water in her bowl. And one day I miscalculated the placement of my cup when I was using the spigot from the station water and spilled some water on the floor, and Daisy walked over and lapped up the water. Woohoo! And then she said her friend is also using it because she is sharing the formulas with her friend. Her friend wrote a testimonial that also talks about her and her daughters using the Healthy Woman has helped both of her daughters with their monthly cycle, no more pain or cramping. The younger one's eczema is clearing up, and she has had relief from anxiety. And then they have a dog who was having skin issues, and she tried over-the-counter products. She went to the vet, and then her good friend gave her the waters, and one being the Super Dog Plus, and within a week, Angel, her dog, had completely cleared up her skin condition, and nothing has come back. So that's really great. And then there's one more part here talking about the eye drops. She says she has a problem with floaters, and she's starting to see improvement there as well after just a couple of weeks. So that's pretty awesome. Great stuff.
Yeah, and you know, I forget that I used to have floaters that had fins and tails and would swim across, and it's so rare that I see a dot go across. And floaters can be very common in somebody like me who was gifted with a lazy eye. And so all the work goes to one of my eyes. Well, that's the eye that gets the floaters, of course.
The lazy eye does?
No,
the other one, the one that's doing all the extra work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then I got a testimonial from somebody who she thought she is developing cataracts. I'm going to say was. Okay. And so the discussion was, well, you know, one day you're going to have surgery. And so she got the eye formula, and she said, I just wanted to tell you that I finally used the eye GANS yesterday for the first time. I had made it, but been so busy, I hadn't actually used it. Wow. The very first time I used it, the vision in my good eye became more clear, and in my bad eye, meaning the one that has some obstruction, I also noticed a slight improvement. This was done about 11 a.m. and that night I put drops in my eyes before I went to bed. And then the next morning when she got up, things were more clear in both eyes. I was pretty amazed. I really didn't expect it to do much the first time I used it, but now I'm going to be using it and try my best to use it twice a day. I really think it will make that little right thumbprint on my one eye eventually go away. And Dr. Paul used this formula for cataracts that he had. He knew the treatment is surgery because as a veterinarian, he used to do that surgery on animals.
Right.
And so he used the drops consistently. And for several months, he never saw a change. And then it started changing. And he walked in, it was probably a year later with a little flyer we'd gotten in the mail. And he started reading the fine print with no glasses,
Wow.
no surgery, no contact lens. So, persistence really pays.
It does.
Yeah.
I'm actually really glad you brought that up because consistency is the key. And you just don't know. Everybody's condition, everybody's situation, health and physically wise is a little bit different. But when you stay the course and you follow through and you keep using it, it's giving you the best possible opportunity for the outcome you're looking for. And I love hearing that. Number one, I love hearing the fact that the people are getting all those results. And I know for me, I have more energy. We've talked about that, but I'm really happy to hear that somebody stuck it through, even with Dr. Paul, being a doctor and being like hands-on and really understanding the science of this. Even him through his persistence, even though it took 60 days. And, anytime people ask me about this stuff, I always resort back to Nikola Tesla, Georges Lakhovsky, Raymond Royal Rife. These guys basically were knocking everything out of the park, but they never did anything for less than a 90-day protocol. So it didn't matter what was going on for the first week, 2 weeks, nobody cared. You were going to stick it through and you were going to do 90 days. And most of the time within that 90-day period, they got the outcome they were looking for. And in some cases, they would put them on another 60. But, there are times when it does happen really fast, but every person's different. And, the whole thing is basically stay the course, be consistent, and don't quit.
Exactly.
That's right. It's like joining the gym, but you don't go. So if
Right.
you have the tools and you don't use them, you can't expect an outcome that is favorable.
Exactly.
You just have to use them.
That's right. That's exactly right.
So Dr. Paul was also able, he was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes when he was 44. And there was no history of that in the family. So there's all our conjectures of how that all happened. But he was able to reduce insulin usage once he started using the plasma water. With type 1, you will never end insulin usage because the pancreas doesn't produce any. He was able to get off high blood pressure meds. He was able to take care of the cataracts, and his kidney function, he had a transplant in 2004, and the function had started to kind of diminish, and it went back to as good as it was the day he was transplanted.
Wow.
So, and basically when he was 79, he said, look, my body's wearing out. There is a toll on the body from diabetes and insulin and all of this. And he said, I've outlived my parents. I'm wearing out. And I said, no, we're just upper middle age. And he said,
Yeah.
You might. I'm not. So he really felt he bought 5 more years with all of us.
Yeah.
And it was 5 years that was awesome because at the end of his, in his golden years, he ended up doing something that was of such value to so many people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's really a legacy that he's left with you and Stephanie. I mean, all of you.
Exactly.
A legacy. And we'll always be grateful. And the thing I love actually about all your videos is that he's still here. Like when you're watching the videos, it's like we're still here with Dr. Paul, and you did such a good job of creating so many videos. I mean, there's not a subject or there's not any type of plasma energy that you don't have a video with you and Dr. Paul. And, it's actually such a great legacy. And I'm so happy that that's been preserved because, you can still hear Dr. Paul and get it directly from Dr. Paul. He's watching it, in his spiritual body, but everything that he needed to do to transmit this information and get this knowledge out, he was able to get it done and passed on to both of you. And so here we are today, and people are still being helped by all that work.
Well, exactly. And to his credit, he was persistent with me because we need to do videos. We need to do videos. We need to do videos. And I'm going, yeah, that means I need to learn how to get a camera, learn how to use it, figure this stuff out, how to download. And so I kept stalling and I kept stalling, and he kept pushing. And I'm so glad he did, because we've got, like you say, we've got a great number of videos that he did. And he announced when we finally were set up, okay, we're going to do 100 videos. And I'm going,
no pressure, by the way, no pressure. We need to do 100. Oh, that's funny.
We got to 4 dozen, which was pretty good.
That's really good. And I mean, really touching on some good subject matter. The funny thing is I'm into a lot of this technology, and I think I talked to you, people that might know me, I've got a background in the medical industry, and, I've been doing that a long time. We set up surgery centers, and I mean, you name it, we do it. My heart's just not into it anymore. Now that I'm getting into this technology and we're really going out there and helping people, I really see the medical industry now is what Tesla and Dr. Paul and all these people always wanted. They wanted to be a frequency and energy-based technology to help people. And it, through the course of our lifetimes and before that, obviously things haven't always been that way. But I do see that there is sort of light at the end of the tunnel. I do see that there's a lot more people that are bringing a lot more technology, a lot more, love to the environment, that's changing the frequency. And, all the people like yourselves and Dr. Paul that have all been sort of instrumental in making that happen. I do feel that we are going to see that. But in the meantime, I've had to leave the medical industry. I told my business partners, I love you. I'm giving you big hugs and a kiss, but I just can't do this anymore. So with that being said, since I was doing a lot of this part-time, doing the medical stuff full-time, now it's going to shift. So, we're going to be able to do more promotions, more videos, more information, but it's been a great ride, and having this plasma energy water for me has been absolutely so much fun and so good for health. And it's one of the things that's really, it's not hard. It was not a hard decision. It was actually a very easy decision. It was a hard decision to go to work every day and do the traditional stuff. But now that I've kind of broken out of that, I am so excited. And, I thank you for all the support that you've given me. You guys, nobody knew me from Adam. I'm like, hey, Lynn, I want to do a Zoom call with you, and I want to start talking about this plasma energy water, because I'm just like a little kid at Toys R Us. I mean, this is technology that, like, when I hear about it and talk about it, I get excited. I love it. I think it's phenomenal. And I just want to know more, and I want to get my hands on it. And so you guys have been very instrumental in helping me make that decision and crossing over into full time. And I'm really excited where all this is going right now. I think we're really moving into a good space.
Well, Sean, I really appreciate that we did the video where we went through all the products, and I call it Cliff Notes. And so I send that out often to people, because a lot of people will come and say, well, this is going on and this and this and this and this. What do you think I should take? And I get to use your words and say, I want you to go through the list. Here's a video, and I want you to pick out what resonates with you.
That's exactly right.
Because either you or I are licensed medical people, and we don't ever pretend to be.
Right.
We're just here to bring plasma energy into people's lives.
That's right. And with that being, I'm sorry, Steph, but
we appreciate you very much as well. It's been a great tandem.
It has been. It's been a lot of fun. There's a lot of people getting benefit. But, the number one thing I always tell people is I'm not selling products. I'm basically providing knowledge and information. If I give you the knowledge and information, you figure out what you're going to do with it. That's not on me. But, oh, by the way, once you do learn about it and you understand how powerful water is and how you can infuse plasma energy into water, then you make your own decisions. But you know what? I never knew anything about it. I mean, I'm 56 years old. So, I don't know where I fit in on the educational list of things. But growing up as a kid, this stuff was, it wasn't even on the radar. And and within the last year, not only have I learned about it, but I basically have swan dived into trying to learn as much as I can. Swan dive. The funny thing is, though, is that these are the classes, this is the information in college. I skipped and I didn't want to take college course. I'm like, no, I don't want to take that. I don't want physics. I don't want to, no. But now at this part of my life, learning how powerful and how amazing the technology is, I can't shut it down. I just want to keep learning more. And it's just such great knowledge and information to pass on to people. And Lynn, so I did want to also just bring up on your website, people can email you. You can also email Lynn direct at plasmaenergysolution@gmail.com. And if you do have questions, you can always email Lynn. And Lynn, you've always been super good and punctual about calling people back. But I like exactly what you touched on. You go on the list, you look at it, you find what resonates with you, and then you pick out those ones. And guess what? There's no limit on how many you can order. So if you end up getting 2 or 3 right now, fantastic. If you want to get another one in a month or 2, fantastic. Now, you know, I've been doing this with you for a while, so I've got 7. But you know what? I love it. And there, you know, that, and you know, some of these ones that you've created, and I just have to touch on the Heavenly Thunderbolt. Got a lot of good feedback with that. I mean, you've come up with some of these now that have so many energies in them. You can get one that has 15 or more energies in it, and basically that's a great starter. And then later on, if you say, hey, you know what, I need one for my mom or I need one for somebody else, well then great, you go get those other ones. But such a great value. You know, the cost, like I said, is just so reasonable. It's a one-time purchase, and that little vial, whether it's glass, plastic, or in a pad, is going to charge water the rest of your life. So, you know, I mean, where else do you go with that? You need to drink water anyway, and certainly none of us are probably getting the energy that we all need. But what could be a more simple, basic, down-to-earth solution than getting something that's really going to help your water?
Exactly. And, you know, Sean, people are noticing that I have changed the way that I accept payments. And there was an issue with the online service provider I used, who decided they should keep the funds for 3 or 4 weeks before they issued them to me, even though the orders were fulfilled. So I've gone to the old-fashioned route. You can send me a check. If you send the check, I will send the order as soon as I get the check. You can send me a U.S. postal money order, and if you take a screenshot of it, I'll send your order right away. Just send me the screenshot. And it can be a challenge for some people to go to the post office. I realize that. And I do want to tell them, be sure you take cash or a debit card, because they won't take a credit card and they won't take a check. So that's the way we're doing it. Once in a while, I get somebody who can only use a credit card, and I've got a workaround for it. And then we'll just communicate privately on that.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not trying to make it hard for people, but some things in our world are getting just a little sketchy.
And I know that they make things difficult with you because, you know, there's certain things, you know, we were talking about some mutual friends that we've got that are starting to get some of their stuff censored, or they're, you know, it's just the nature of, you know, the time that we're in. But, you know, we still charge forward, we still make it work, and we just make adjustments, and we don't stop, you know. But it's a very small thing to ask, and it's, you know, 15, 20 minutes out of your day for, you know, the next 30, 40, 50 years of your life. It's well worth it. I actually did have somebody that called me up last week that was calling me for something else. And they said, yeah, I just sent Lynn a copy of my money order, and she's already sent me a tracking number. It already went out like the same day he sent that to you, sent it out the same day. And, you know, that's the other thing I love. I love being in contact with owner operators. I love talking to the people that are at the heart of the technology. I love talking to the people that are in the trenches, making it happen with direct contact. This is not a big Fortune 500 company where you're talking to, you know, God only knows where they're sending the calls, and, you know, they're so disconnected from what's actually happening. But, you know, that's the thing that's so great working with you and working with this, the company Plasma Energy Solution, is that, you know, it's owner operated. You're right there to answer questions, take care of people. And you're not like, you're still coming up with new stuff. So like every time we get together, there's new stuff. You know, you and Steph are working out new formulas for new things you can do with it. And it just keeps evolving. And there's just more and more formulas that keep coming out to help people. So that's always exciting. And that's always fun to catch up and see, you know, what's new and what you guys are up to.
Well, thank you, Sean.
Yeah, and I'm excited for you and your new pivot in life. It's going to be really good.
It is. It's really good. I mean, I already feel way better. Just the weight of, you know, I mean, all of us have been in jobs we don't like. I mean, like I said, I was an owner, a partial owner of this company. It's a big company, but you know, that just comes to a point where the money's not worth it. You can't buy happiness. And, you know, sometimes those are tough decisions to make, but you know what? You just have to trust your gut instinct and do what you think in your heart is right and just trust it. And you know what? Sometimes it's not easy, but it always works out. In fact, Jessica, who's next to me, who I absolutely love, she's one of my neighbors and a good friend. You know, she was in the healthcare industry. She was working in some really heavy duty parts of the hospital where you've got a lot of ICU, CCU, and all the politics. It was making her miserable. And, you know, she finally met an impasse where it was time to go. She had to leave. And the transition of leaving that job and going, oh my God, I don't have a job and I need to find that. That is always tough. That's never easy, especially when you have kids and, you know, financial responsibilities. But like I was saying to her earlier, when a thunderstorm hits, right? And I think I even told you, when the thunderstorm hits and you're in the midst of a downpour and rain and wind and lightning, well, sometimes it's hard to see that once that storm passes, that's what you needed to have to grow those flowers, to grow those plants, to grow those trees, to grow your soul into getting you into a better location. So it's not always easy to see initially. Sometimes it's easier to see it after it's passed. And I know because I've been through this a few times before that if you don't get that kick in the hind end that just says, look, I'm done. Like I'm done. Like it's over. You know, if you don't get to that point, but you kind of sometimes need to get pushed to that point to get into that transition phase, to get to where you really need to be. And the transition part of it can be a little bumpy sometimes. And I'm not going to say it's not, but sometimes, you know what, when you look back, it's the greatest thing that ever happened to you. So it's a matter of perspective, but your perspective will change as time goes by. And Lynn and Steph, I know you've probably, you know, seen or been around or had to deal with that yourselves, but I'm super excited now that I'm in this position, and it's you know, it's going to be exciting to grow the company and take it to higher places.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And congratulations to you, Sean.
Absolutely. That's great. It's great news.
Congratulations on quitting your job. Yeah. Well, it feels good. It feels good. I mean, and you know, the thing that's nice is that there was some friction. You know, there was some friction. I'm not going to say there wasn't. I basically you know, I reached my pinnacle of tolerance for dealing with just when you have multiple partners, everybody has different ideas what they want to do, and God bless them. Everybody in their heart believes they're doing the same thing. But you know what, it needed to happen. It did happen. And I'm just super excited. And I still have a good relationship with all those people at that company. So even though there was a bit of a transition, a few bumps in the road, I don't want to hold on to that. I don't want to have any animosity. I don't want to hold that energy. I just, you know, I acknowledge what it was. It was the universe telling me how many times we got to kick you in the hind end before you're going to make the decision you need to go. And we're just going to keep ramping it up and making it more difficult until you finally wake up to the fact that you need to be doing something else. And I was able to I kind of got that. But, you know, if there wasn't a little friction along the way, I'd probably still be riding that gravy train and just, you know, but anyway, so it is what it is. But I'm super excited to see both of you. I don't think we've done a call now since it's been about a month.
Yeah, a little over, I think. It's been a while.
Yeah, I know, Steph, you were doing some traveling. I was doing some traveling. So you know, it's good now. What's that?
Yeah, Lynn was holding down the fort.
Yeah,
that's right. Lynn was holding down the fort. That's right. So, well, let's go ahead. We'll sign off now. Before we do, though, I'm going to just give each one of you a chance to say, Steph, is there anything you want to say to everybody before we go?
Well, just to sort of follow up on what you were talking about with your changes with, work life and just big life changes, the time comes for all of us to do different things. And I've been through that the last year as well. And I had a teacher in massage school 30 years ago that just told me, if you always do what you were meant to do and do what you love, the financial security will follow. So finish up with that.
That's awesome. And Lynn, anything, Lynn, before I say anything, I have to tell you, I love that necklace you're wearing. There was a guy that you talked to that asked you, he goes, I want to know what Sean's wearing. Whatever Sean's wearing, I want that pendant. This is the pendant you made for me that he said. He's such a nice guy. I've talked to him many times. He's out of Indiana. But he basically talked to you and said, I want to know what pendant Sean's got. I've got the pendants too. So there is the pendants. I don't want to go into that right now, but when you get to the plasma energy solution, you not only have the opportunity to get the plasma energy water, but then you have the charged pendants, which I absolutely love. I swear by this. So Lynn, but I love that necklace you're wearing. It's beautiful. And
I've got to tell you a little story about it.
Okay.
Paul one day showed up with a box. It may have been a birthday or something, but it was a Johnson bandage box. And it was a heavy Johnson bandage box. And I opened it, and he had this whole set made. And he had picked out all the stones and had a silversmith that he knew make it for me. So it's kind of a special.
It is special. And that was
it is
not like my dad to do big things like that. So that was a surprise.
Right. I mean, he could have cared less about jewelry or anything, but he kind of knew it was in my wheelhouse.
That's right. That's awesome. Well, that's great. It has, not only is it beautiful, but it has sentimental value.
Exactly.
That's awesome. So Lynn, anything you want to finish with before we
I just want to tell everybody, have a great rest of your week, and be sure and go to plasmaenergysolution.com. Sean, we've got lots of videos to help people learn more about it. We've got blogs that we've written. There's free reports that they can access. We have testimonials. We have a section on intention. We have frequently asked questions. So hopefully there's a lot of tools there that they can learn lots more.
Yeah, you have basically videos for every single one of the plasma energy waters, which is phenomenal. Tons of great information. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to join me again today. I absolutely love both of you, and it's the holidays, and I'm super happy to see you. Lynn, real quick though, when they check out, what is the code that they should use to check out to get their discount? Use the word thanks.
Yes. Now, most months they'll use USA MedBeds, and it would be 15% off. This coming month, it will be thanks, and they will get 20% off, but they have to answer the question that they heard about me through USA MedBeds, because they won't be able to check out otherwise.
Okay, good. Okay, so that's awesome. Well, extra discounts and great gifts for the holidays, great gifts for, family members. So once again, plasmaenergysolution.com. Now, I do have a link, and I do have some of the videos we've done on USA MedBed, but what it basically does is it links them back to that site, and it links them back in there. So if they happen to fall on my website and they start digging around, it's going to link them back to your website. So I'll have that down below also in the description area, Plasma Energy Solution, so they can get right to that. And once again, always share your feedback. If anybody's out there, there are prior customers that we've talked to that we've been able to help out, don't hesitate to send an email to Lynn or myself. Give us a call or send us an email, and we'll be more than happy to share your story.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you. All right. Take care. Have a great afternoon. We'll talk again soon.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.